I'm going to show you exactly how I'm generating over £10 million in annual revenue for just one of our agency clients using Facebook Instant Forms. This isn't just another basic tutorial showing you which buttons to click to set up your Instant Forms. I'm going to reveal the exact strategies that are working right now to get Instant Forms to work for your business. I'm going to break down how to maximize your results from lead forms, what specific things actually make a difference, how to make sure you get quality leads, not just quantity, and most importantly, the principles that you need to have in place to make sure you turn those leads into paying customers. Now, before we dive in, I just want to make sure it's absolutely clear to you that no matter what you've heard, Instant Forms do work. I've been head of marketing for two separate companies that have scaled from just a few £1,000,000 in annual revenue up to 15 to 20 million in annual revenue, with Facebook ads as their main acquisition channel, and both of them used Instant Forms. We tried testing landing pages, but Instant Forms consistently outperformed. Instant Forms allow us to capture leads while keeping the leads inside the Facebook ecosystem. Why this is so powerful is Facebook are really trying to push Instant Forms now because it's keeping users on their platforms for longer. In turn, it means Facebook is going to increase the amount of ad revenue make from their advertisers. And this is perfect for us because it means we can get cheaper ad costs, cheaper CPMs, and convert more leads into customers at a cheaper cost. But only if we know how to set up lead forms to get quality leads and then how to turn those quality leads into sales. Let's waste no more time. Let's jump into the ads manager and let's start breaking this down. I just want to show you one of the accounts that I'm working with that I said about at the start of the video. This is the account. You can see the last 30 days we've spent £65,000. It's all going towards Instant Forms. And if I go to the last year, because I've been on this account for a year, so go back to April 25th. You can see we've spent £668,000 on lead forms. And I know for a fact this has brought through around £10 million in revenue. This is very high ticket. So this just goes to show that it does work. Average order value here is about £17,000. It's high ticket, it does work. So it can work for your business if you know how to set it up properly. So let's go into how to get it to work. Okay, so I've built a very simple and basic structure here to show you how an instant form works. I will get into how to set it up, but first I want to go over a bit of theory. So we have the ad goes to the form goes to follow-up, the follow-up goes to conversion, and then once we have that conversion, we want to feed it back into Facebook. So I'm going to go through each part and explain what you need to do at each level to maximize your results. So first, on the ad level, this may sound like a surprise to you, but the ad is where we want to do all the qualification for our forms. So what you need to do is take a step back and think about what are your biggest friction points for your ad. For a lot of service businesses, one of the biggest friction points is price. So what do we need to do? Just make the price clear on the ad. What you don't want is a really well-made ad where you're offering your USPs, you're showing, someone goes through, submits the form, you follow up with them, and you waste your time. Not only is that bad because you're wasting time with the follow-up, but Facebook doesn't care about what happens after the form with a standard setup. So in Facebook's eyes, that lead was a success. Even though you follow up and they weren't even qualified, doesn't matter to Facebook. They were qualified because they submitted the form. You've set it up so that Facebook is optimizing for the maximum number of leads. It got a lead, it saw that as a success, but it wasn't. So if price is one of your big friction points, that must be on the ad. I have found on all the tests I've done with service businesses that having the price on the ad was the most fundamental. Like I just said with that campaign I just showed you, we have the price on every single ad. Even if you have custom pricing, if you find price as a big friction point, then have that. With that said though, if price isn't a friction point, like if you're a marketing agency or a coach or consultant, price probably isn't a friction point for you. So that's not something you would want. The other thing you need to have very clear is your offer. You're gonna have to excuse the terrible writing, it's hard to write on a computer. Your offer/service. Again, we want to absolutely minimize the amount of confusion for people coming through. We want to make sure when someone submits that form, they know exactly what they're getting, exactly how much it costs. Again, if that's a big barrier for entry for you. Instant forms are really good at getting lots of cheap leads. My experience tells me if you're getting really cheap leads from Facebook lead form, they're probably not qualified and they're probably not going to convert. We actually want to try and increase the cost per lead to try and increase the quality of it. That account I just showed you, we're paying £50, £60 per lead. That's because we know every lead that comes through is qualified on price, offer, and service. And the crazy thing is, we're not even qualifying them on the form. The form has a couple basic questions just to filter out bots and spam, but none of the questions on the form for us in that campaign are qualifying. The ad is doing all the qualification. So I'm going to write it here. You could have lots of different points that affect your qualification, so I'm not going to go through all of them because you're going to know yours better than me. What I'm telling you is make sure your ad is doing the qualification. So I'm going to write here, this is terrible. This is very bad. Okay, that says qualification if you can't read it. So let's go on to the form. The form is a really interesting part of the instant form process. Obviously, it's the whole main thing. But what's very interesting about it is after spending millions of pounds on instant forms, one thing I've learned is people don't read the form. You could put a huge amount of information on there. You could use loads of questions. You could have a huge headline. You could use one of these special formats because they have the rich creator format now. I would estimate about 75% of people, once they've seen the ad, they'll go on the form and submit straight away. A lot of them don't read it. And I have tested this because I've tried to do the qualification on the form before I learned to qualify on the ad, and it doesn't work. So what is the purpose of your form? The purpose of your form is to gather data, and it's to qualify based on 1 or 2 minimal questions. Now, I know I just said do all your qualification on the ad, and you do. You want to do you want to do a subconscious qualification on the ad. So what I mean by subconscious qualification is if they see the price and the price is £500, but they know they can only afford £200, subconsciously, or well, maybe even consciously, they're going to be like, okay, I can't afford that and move on instantly. But let's say someone sees the ad, they see the pricing and the offer and the service or whatever you have on there, and they're happy with it and they like what you have to offer, they go to the form. Let's say you now have like one key qualification point. Maybe that key qualification point is that they're a homeowner. You're going to have one of your questions set up on a conditional logic. And again, I'm going to show you how to do this in a minute. Are you a homeowner? Yes, no. If they press yes, they can submit the form. If they press no, they can't. One of the difficult things with instant forms is having multiple step conditional qualifying. I've tried to implement it in the past, and if you try to do more than 2, it actually just doesn't work. So I always try to have just one conditional qualification point. Now, beyond that, we also want to try and gather extra information. So ask your conditional qualifying question first, then go to ask additional questions. Ask questions like how many bedrooms are in your house, how much are your current energy bills. So you want to have that first question as your key qualification point, and then have your follow-up questions as data gathering. You want to try and gather more data because not only is it going to be helpful in your follow-up process, but it's going to weed out the people who aren't really interested. So I aim for 1 key qualification question and at least 2 follow-up questions. So you have that qualification, you get 2 follow-up questions so you can gather more data. So when your sales teams follow up, they have that data, they can call up and say, hi, thanks for submitting the lead form. I know you have a 3-bed house with energy bills of £150, and then you go into your sales process, whatever that might be. The next important thing after having your qualification questions is when you're going to gather their personal details. Now, a lot of the time, by default, Facebook has a setting for autofill to be enabled. I've spoke to people in the past about Facebook forms autofill, and a lot of people I speak to don't recommend having it turned on because their belief is that a lot of their Facebook data isn't going to be accurate. However, I disagree with that, and my experience, again, shows me that's not the case. I always leave autofill on. It helps increase conversion because a lot of the data is accurate. So leave autofill on. If you do find you're getting lots of leads come through with incorrect phone numbers, then turn it off. But at first, leave it on. And you're going to want to try and gather as much personal information that is relevant to what you're offering. So normally I go for first name, last name, postcode, phone number, email. For most service businesses, this is all you're ever going to need. A lot of service businesses, you're not even going to need postcode, you're just going to need that. So when you're gathering that information along with the key qualification point and the follow-up questions, you're going to have enough data to hit the ground running with your follow-up process. But not only that, you're going to be able to weed out all of the low quality leads because there's a lot of information they're submitting. So anyone who's not super interested isn't going to go this far through the process. So once they've been qualified on the ad, they've gone through the qualification on the form, they've filled out their information, the most important bit is the follow-up. You must not only have instant SMS or WhatsApp in place. But during working hours, and this is proven, there have been tests done, and I've seen it countless times. It's one of the first things I suggest for our clients is you must manually follow up in 5 mins or less. It is proven that if you can follow up within 5 minutes, it will increase conversion rate by up to 250%. So let's say you submit the form, you likely have the offer, but you don't hear back for a couple of days, and then you get a phone call from a random number. You don't know what that random number is, you probably think it's spam, so you ignore it. Now on the other hand, let's say you submit a form, within 3 minutes you get a phone call. You're probably going to associate that with the Facebook form you just submitted, and you're going to pick up and talk. Not only that, but let's say you've submitted a form, you've got an SMS, you've started reading your SMS, you're about to reply, and then you get a call from the same number. You're definitely going to pick up because you recognize the number. So it's so important that you have instant follow-up in place. You have a manual follow-up as well with your team within 5 minutes or less. If you can implement this, not even like the ads and the form, if you're running ads already and you're not following up instantly with an SMS or WhatsApp, and you're not following up within 5 minutes, implement that, and I promise you that alone will change your business. Now, I'm not going to go into the follow-up beyond that first instant and 5 minutes or less, because every service business has a different sales process. But one thing that every business has in common is conversions. Once you get a conversion, once you get a sale, this is where the magic of instant forms happen. Within the last 8 months, I think last 6 months maybe, Facebook released a feature called conversion leads. What this means is when you're storing your lead data in the CRM, once that prospect has been through the journey from new inquiry to hot lead to appointment booked and then sale, when they reach that sale, you can send that conversion data back to Facebook instant forms. You can train Facebook to go after not just quality leads, but the leads that are actually converting. So you can send that conversion data all the way back to the ad, and it's an infinite loop of optimization. It takes a while for you to be able to implement this because you need a lot of data coming through, but once you're in a place where you can flick on the setting for conversion leads, instant forms work so well because it's learning off of conversion data, not just lead data. And this is a process that a lot of people can't even implement with landing pages. You can implement it on landing pages just for reference, but a lot of people don't. But with conversion leads, it makes it so much easier to do so. So I'm just going to recap the theory, and then I'm going to dive into an ad account and show you the process I would do for this. So the first thing a prospect sees is our ad. On there, we want to try and cover the main friction or qualification points. For example, it can be price, and it's very important on there that your offer and service is really clear. We want to make sure that people who are clicking on the ad to go to the form are aware of what the offer is with absolute clarity. And if one of your big friction points is price, have that on there as well. If one of your big friction points is, I've worked with companies where you have to be on benefits, make sure that people know they're on benefits. If you're doing solar or window companies, I know that benefits is an important thing for you because it's a government scheme, so make sure that's clear on the ad. Reason being is once someone's on the form, a lot of them don't read a lot of the form. They'll just go to the questions and then submit. So on the form, have 1 or 2 key qualifications at most. Typically, I suggest 1 because any more than that, it can be difficult to set up and sometimes just outright won't work. So have 1 key qualification question, then have 2 follow-up questions that aren't going to qualify, but it's just data gathering for your sales team. Then have your information gathering. Typically, don't ask for more than first name, last name, postcode, phone number, email, unless it's mandatory for you to have more. Then the absolute most important bit, if you want to go just from generating leads to generating sales, is having an instant SMS or WhatsApp follow-up, and then manually follow up within 5 minutes or less with a phone call. This is time and time proven to be the most important thing for high converting lead campaigns. We're not in the business of leads, we're in the business of sales. And if you're getting leads but not sales, it's because your follow-up isn't on point. Once you've gone from lead to converted customer, we then want to send that data back to Facebook so it can optimize for the converted leads. Now, I hope that theory all makes sense. I appreciate I've not laid out in maybe the most clear way because my handwriting is dreadful. So if you have any questions on it, please do ask me in the comments. I'm going to go into the ad account and quickly show you how I would set this up for a dummy campaign that I'm going to go through. I'm going to make up a niche and just go through it on a demo account. Okay, so when you're in Facebook Ads Manager, you want to go up to the green Create button. Then you're going to get a bunch of options. You want to select leads, press continue. You'll then get an option to choose a campaign setup. Always choose manual leads because we want to have control over what's going on. This Advantage Plus option pretty much automates everything. So you can't set demographics, can't set placements. We don't want that. We want control when using instant forms. So give yourself a name. I'm just going to call this lead gen campaign. For you, call it something better. Normally I'll do lead gen campaign and put the date in. So it's 25/04/25. For this, I'm going to leave Advantage campaign budget off. I'm going to quickly just give a bit of insight about Advantage campaign budget. When you're initially testing things, I like to leave it off. Once you know all the ad sets inside a campaign are high performant, then turn it on. So for you, if you're just starting out, leave this off. Control the ad budget on the ad set level. So A/B test, no. Special ad category, no. Depending on your business, you might need special ad category. I'm not going to cover that in this video. If you are in the special ad category, it does change quite a lot of things. I have worked with it a lot, so if that's you, drop a comment and I'll help you with that. So let's go on the ad set level next. We're just going to create one ad set. Let me think of a niche that we're going to work with. So I'm going to say we're working with a dentist doing Invisalign, because I've been working with a few more dental clients recently. So let's go Invisalign. Then on conversion location, make sure to only select instant forms. Now there's a new option that can be quite good, and it's called instant forms and messenger. And that can work well because you can instantly follow up with messenger. However, I don't use this currently. I still prefer following up with SMS because more people use SMS, not everyone uses messenger. So select instant forms, select your Facebook page. Now this performance goal, if you remember a few minutes ago, I was talking about there's an option for maximize number of conversion leads. You can't set that up yet because you haven't given enough data to Facebook, so you can only select maximum number of leads. But you do want to set up the option for maximum number of conversion leads. I'm not going to cover that in this video because the way to implement changes dramatically based on your CRM. If you have one of the main CRMs like HubSpot or Salesforce or Go High Level, there are some partner integrations, but if your CRM isn't one of those, you have to use custom code. Like I say, if you want me to cover certain CRMs, drop a comment and I'll show you how to do it. That's fine. I can make a video for specific CRMs, but I can't cover every single CRM in one video. So I'm not going to. There are probably loads of tutorials. You can even contact Meta and they'll help you set it up. I'm just making you aware of it. Cost per result, we don't want to put one in. Dynamic creative, we don't want on. Don't select the catalog. Put your daily budget in. Doesn't really matter what you put in here. That's fine. Audience controls. So you're going to see here, there's a tick next to Advantage Plus Audience. For most businesses, you're not going to want to use Advantage Plus Audience at this stage. So while it's still available, switch to Original Audience. It will tell you can get a lower cost per lead with Advantage Plus. You can, but my experience is it's generally lower quality. Now I know from my own experience with Invisalign promotions that the age range best is 25 to 40. So if you know for certain that a certain age demographic is best, put that in. If you don't know what age demographic is best, leave it at 18 to 65. Because in the future, we can analyze by age demographic. I'll quickly show you how to do that. So I've just quickly gone back to that campaign I was talking about earlier, and you can break this down by age. If you go and break down age, now you won't be able to see properly here, only you can in this campaign, but you can see there's a breakdown of age demographics, and we can see certain ones are performing better than others, so we can optimize towards those campaigns or towards those age groups. So if you don't know the best age demographic, leave it open for now. Same with gender. If you don't have a specific gender to go after, generally I'll leave this open. Location targeting, if you're a local business, target a local area. If you're nationwide, this stuff's pretty straightforward. Just put in where you can target. Don't worry about saving the audience. Now when it comes to placements, leave this on Advantage Plus placement to start with. A lot of campaigns that I run now, I do move to manual placement eventually. I typically run just feeds and stories. When you're first running a campaign, when you don't know something for certain, leave it open, get the data, then make the decisions. So leave this open, then in the future, the same with age demographic, you can analyze based on placement. A lot of the time I do see feeds and stories being the best, but I can see good results from these as well. So leave that open to begin with. So next we're going to go on to the ad level. I'm going to call this Invisalign ad 01. Nothing really crazy put there. Now I'm not going to make a crazy good ad for this. I'm just going to show you the principles and then put it in place. So it's going to look rubbish. So please ignore that. So first thing we're going to want to do is set up a creative. Let's make an image ad. But first I need to actually make the image ad. So let's jump over to Canva quick. Okay, so I've jumped over to Canva. I've just gone on the internet and grabbed a photo of an Invisalign thing. So you want a good photo in the background. Again, this will vary depending on your business. And then I'm going to go through the principles that I spoke about. So the first thing I know with Invisalign is price is a big factor. So what I want to do is, I don't want to put the price in £5,000 because that's going to put a lot of people off, even though that is the price. But one thing you can do to get the price qualified, but without scaring people off, is I can say it's from £120 a month. So I can put it's from £120 a month, and obviously make the design a lot better than this. I'm just doing it quickly. Let's change the font to something like maybe Playfair Display. Let's do Poppins. So let's make this much smaller. That's way too big. So you've got the price there. And then what you can do is just add a bit of text to say, let's get rid of that. We could say Cambridge's highest rated Invisalign. So we have Cambridge's highest rated Invisalign. Want to make the text bigger so it's nice and clear for people. Not too big where it doesn't all fit though. So I've got a couple review elements in place. Have to adjust this, make it a bit smaller. Let's do it like this so it all fits in. So we've got our Trustpilot reviews. Let's send backwards. Get that. Pop it there. Got our Google review. Again, I'm not really focusing on design here. Definitely spend more time making better ads. I've just chucking this together to prove a point. So we've got the offer in. We've got it very clear to what it is. It's Invisalign. The price is clear. We could even just do £120 a month. Make that bigger. £120 per month. Put that there. Make it a bit bigger. Reduce the line height. So good. We've really quickly chucked an ad together. It is not perfect, and I probably wouldn't run this, but you can see the point. We've got the price being qualified, £120 per month. If people can't afford that, they're going to click away, and it's very clear that this is Invisalign. We've also included our USP, because if we were the highest rated Invisalign clinic in Cambridge, then we've got that on there. If you have other USPs, then have that, but we've got that. We've also got reviews for social proof, we've got a good image, and we've got our logo in place. So this is the ad I would run. So I'd get this ad, download it quick. So we've got our ad in place. The next thing we're going to want to do is write some ad copy. Now, again, I expect you to spend a lot more time focusing on the ad copy and the processes there, but this is just for demonstration purposes to show you what to have in place. So the headline, we'll just put something a bit more emotive. We could put, get your perfect smile. Then we can put in a primary text, Cambridge's leading Invisalign provider. Now only £120 a month. Then we could put why choose us. Then go into the key points. So we'll have point 1. Oops. Point 2, point 3. Then book your free assessment. Today, click learn more. Again, this is really just rough copy to show you like principles. It's not actually something I would ever put live. So then for call to action, I'm going to put learn more. Call to action doesn't make a huge amount of difference, so pick whatever makes sense for your add. On the Advantage Plus creative enhancements, I turn these off because they can do some really weird things. The only one I leave on is text improvements, but turn the rest off. So then save. So now we've got our ad coming together. We've got our ad creative that qualifies. We've got our ad copy that also qualifies on offer and pricing, as well as some things to help with the sales process as well, like why choose us and our unique selling points. So next thing we're going to want to do is set up our lead form. So on Instant Form, you're going to want to click Create Form. Call this form whatever your service is. So I'm going to call it Invisalign and then put the date. I like to date things because in the future, when you do data analysis, you can then see timeframes on things like forms, which you couldn't normally do. So on form type, click Higher Intent. There's a new feature that came in the last week to require leads to verify their phone number. I wouldn't do this at the moment. It's adding a really big friction point, and to be honest, I don't see too many people come through with incorrect phone number. It's probably in the less than 5% range. So for now, leave that off. It's something you can test in the future. There's also another new feature called Flexible Form Delivery. This is going to allow Meta to adjust or remove form elements based on what people are most likely to respond to. We don't want to do that because it's going to remove questions that we've put in place for a reason. So leave that turned off. So press next. For your background image, you can upload something custom, or you can use the image from your ad. This isn't going to make a huge amount of difference, so do whatever you think looks best for you. I normally just use the image from the ad, but again, this will not make a difference. This is more of just like a design preference. What is going to make a difference is your greeting. So for the headline for this, we're going to put something like book your free Invisalign assessment. Then in the description, like I said, a lot of people don't read the description, but still use this point or use this section to get across more of your unique selling points, your benefits, and any further information you want to fill out here. While most people don't read it, some do, so definitely have general information there. I'm not going to fill it out hugely for this business because, it's just an example. So in here, you're going to want to put some more benefit points. So I'll put benefit points. Call to action at the bottom. Let's add some social proof. So maybe you could put, we're rated 5 out of 5 or with 1,000 plus reviews. A call to action, and then have some sort of hook to get people to read. If you want better examples of what actually to put on your instant form, I can send some over to you. That's fine. Just let me know again in the comments. This video, I'm focusing on the theory of how to get things to convert properly. I'm not focusing on how to write specific ad copy because that's going to change business to business. Now on questions, you have this option at the top to enable conditional logic. You want to select that for yes if you have specific qualification questions. Now, this has changed quite a lot over the last few weeks. So if when you're doing this, it's changed again, just try and remember the principles I'm teaching because Facebook changes things quite a lot. We're going to add a new question, multiple choice, and we're going to put, I know there's a qualification question of, do you have any missing teeth? So we want just a clear yes, no for this. If people press no, then close form. If people choose yes, then go to the next question, which I'll make quickly. So we'll do another multiple choice question, and then we'll set this to go to question 2. Now question 2, we just want to gather more information. So we could say something like, would you be interested in our finance options? Again, this is going to change dependent on your business. So just put general questions you want to know the answer to. Yes, no. Then we'll add another question, short answer. And then go to question 3. Go to question 3. Again, you can put another qualifying question in here if you want, because as you can see on the no option, we have the option to close form. So if you want to put 1 or 2 qualifying questions, that's fine. I wouldn't put any more than that, but let's go on to question 3. So for this question, it's just going to be a short answer, and I'm going to put, please tell us more about why you are interested in Invisalign. Then logic, go to submit form, go to that end page. So we've got our qualifying question, we've got 2 data gathering questions, and then we just want to gather some more information. So we want to get email, phone number. We definitely don't want to be optional. Then we want to go use information, first name, use information, surname. This may not be something you care about, but I always like to have it in a different order to this. So I like to have first name and surname at the top, and then email and phone number at the bottom. So you can see you have this option to autofill. I would leave this on. I found that leads generally have the right information come through. However, if you're finding for your industry you're getting lots of irrelevant emails and phone numbers, then just turn that off. It's super easy, just an option for it. Then if you want postcode as well, chuck postcode in. I will just for demonstration purposes. Go next, privacy policy. You just need to put in your privacy policy. So we've got the privacy policy put in place. Then you have a review screen. Then we're going to go next, and you have your 2 end pages. Now these end pages are quite important because it's going to you're going to give instructions on what to do next for your lead. So we'll do the lead page first. And again, write out better than this. This is just going to be like a principle of what to put in place. So I normally write something like, please read the next steps below. Then I would say, you are now going to get an automated SMS. Please read this to get information about your free assessment. Then you will also get a phone call from this number. Then put in your number, so if it's whatever, put it in place. Within the next 10 minutes during office hours. And put, for more information, please visit our website. And then give a website link for them to go to. We'll put www.google.com. Then we have an end page for non-leads. So you can leave the headline, it's fine, thanks for your interest. Based on your answers, this might not be the best fit for you. Then put, if you think there was a mistake, please visit our website for more information. Because there is a chance they put in the wrong answer, a very, very minimal chance, but just in case, we still want to give them an option to get in touch with us. And again, there's this option to start conversations on Messenger. I don't tend to use this, but if you find for your business you have a lot of conversations on Messenger, then during the setup, press Instant Forms and Messenger, and then press that as well. But again, like I said, a lot of service businesses I work with, SMS seems to be the best option. So we've done all that. We're going to go through and just double check our form. So we've got book your free assessment. We've got a hook, benefit point, social proof, CTA, our qualifying question. We would then have our other questions, but Facebook doesn't preview it. First name, surname, email, phone number, and postcode. You press next, and then you've got this review information screen. The reason we have that review information screen is because earlier on we pressed the option for higher intent rather than more volume. So what that does is gives this screen for people to check their information and slide to submit. So you submit information, then they get information about the next steps. You're going to tell them you're going to get an automated SMS. They'll get the automated SMS. Then, like I said about the sales process, we're giving them the phone number to look out for. So when you call them, they recognize the phone number. And we also tell them to go visit the website for extra details. Because we want to keep them engaged for as long as possible until you can phone them so they don't forget about it. Super, super important. So once you've done that, press create form. So we've created the form now. We've got the ad set up. As you can see, we've got ad setup, ad copy, headline. Our form is set up as well. So now we're ready to put the campaign live. I'm not going to do that. All you have to do is press publish at the bottom. It will take a couple of hours to go through the review process, and then it will go live. So I appreciate that was probably a lot to take in. I hope this was of value to you. I thought this was going to be a 10-minute video, but there are so many intricacies to getting instant forms to work. There's a reason, if you go on Reddit or somewhere and search up instant forms, there are so many people saying it does not work, but factually, it does work. I've been using instant forms on Facebook as my main thing for the last 3 years. There are only very few times where I use landing pages, and when I do, they're really, really well developed and they follow similar principles. So if you're considering using lead forms on Facebook, definitely give it a try. They do work. If you're trying and it's not working, reach out to me and I'm happy to give you some free advice on what to do next. Just to finish this video, I'm going to very quickly recap what we've been over. So I'm going back to this whiteboard and it's a horrible mess. So we've got our ad, which is qualifying based on price or other friction points. We've then got our offer or service on the ad to make sure it's very clear what people are engaging with. On the form, we're using it to gather data. We have 1 or 2 key qualification questions and then 2 follow-up questions. We're using the follow-up questions just to gather data to help our sales team act on it. Then we're going to want to get first name, last name, postcode, phone number, email. You can change this depending on what you need. If you don't need certain things, remove it. Or if you need all of it, it's fine. I wouldn't add much more. Then the most important thing is once you have that in place is you have an instant follow-up with some sort of message platform and then manually follow up within the next 5 minutes if you can. Once you've gone and followed up and you've converted them into a sale, you need to set up conversion lead data to feed that back into Facebook. Just a note, for this to work, you need at least 50 conversions each month. So if you're getting less than that, it's something you can't set up just yet. But when you get to that stage, definitely set it up. Now, I hope this was very valuable. I hope you were able to take it away. You may need to watch this through another time in the future, or if you have any questions at all, please ask them below. I'm here to help. There are going to be more videos around how to get leads and sales for your service-based business in the future. So subscribe for more if you enjoyed, and have a good day.